Welcome to He's Crafty. In today's episode, we're going to attempt to build a prop inspired by the AlleyCat Graphics print of the John Carpenter classic, The Thing. Wish us luck. Snake McCready Burden, out. For this project, I'm going to use this set of coveralls that we had laying around the house. I'm going to fill this sucker with foam and make it a mannequin. I put the weights on the end so the foam doesn't spray out. I'm going to systematically go through and make little cuts. Start injecting foam into this thing. It could just be cheaper to buy a mannequin, but where's the craftiness in that? Just keep making cuts and spraying foam. Fill this sucker up. Make sure you set him in the pose that you want. Once this foam dries, there's no moving it. That's why in his arms I spread him out. Put him on these two, whatever the hell these things are called. Sawhorses, yeah, that's it. Read the screen. It's 24 hours later. Our guy's pretty dry. He's got a plump old belly. Looks pretty good. For his head, we're gonna use this protective spray smock. I attached it to his neck when we were running the other foam. Now just fill this thing up. Whoa, he looks like an alien right there. Let's trim away this foam that we don't need and get him dressed. Now we're gonna drill the hole to run the light in his head. Whoa, that was dope. Gonna hit his head up with some spray paint, make it as dark as possible inside that hood. Next step, we're gonna perfect the art of making masking tape hands. You're gonna start with a regular roll of Scotch tape. Put it sticky side out on your fingers. Attach a straw and then start going over with masking tape, sticky side down. Then you'll cover the sticky side up part of your fingers with the masking tape. The straw's there so you can just make the cut without cutting the crap out of your hand. Get it slid off your hand, tape the cut back together, and start filling them up with foam. The key to remember is to leave the tips of your fingers open so you can just fill the foam in there. I then went through and made more masking tape molds of just my fingers to attach onto the ends to make them longer and mutated and alien-like. Once you got them secure, just go ahead and hit foam inside of those too. When the foam oozes out and dries, you go from this effect to these creepy looking hands like this. Next, I got a piece of plywood. I originally was gonna mount them on there with some rebar, but I abandoned that. I'm gonna use these pipes and secure them to the plywood and just slide our guy on. Nice and secure. Now the fun part. Foaming his arms and legs to get that proper alien mutated look. Attach his hands to his arms with some masking tape. It's pretty creepy looking already. I'm gonna spray some foam up his sleeve just to secure those hands into place. And then just start hitting all of his arms. I'm not too sure why I'm still talking like this. So I like to get this foam all worked in there. Spray a little on your hand and just start rubbing it all around. This makes for an awesome effect when this dries. I made sure when doing his arms that I covered the masking tape on his hands all over with foam. It makes for an awesome effect. He's coming together nicely. Now we're gonna let him dry. While we're waiting for our friend here to dry, we're gonna work on the light for his head. I used one of these clip-on floodlights with the reflector. I cut the reflector down so we were able to fit it inside his hood better. I'm gonna change this later on and you'll see why. Next, I got a piece of this thin plexiglass from Home Depot. This is gonna shield the light from blinding people. So I just put it up to him, I traced out the shape, cut it out of the plexiglass, And then the next step was I'm going to take this glare control window film and cover it to tin him out. The end product takes him from looking less like a Scooby-Doo villain and more like this faceless alien thing. Once the foam was dry, I wanted to go over just his arms and fingers with some of this plastic drop cloth to get that mangled, mutated flesh look. Oh yeah, that's the look we're going for there. Now it's on to painting. We're going to do a base coat of flat black spray paint over the top of all this foam. Then the next layer, we're going to mix some antique white with some scarlet red, as you see here, to get that muscly tissue color. Yuck. I like to hit this part up with a sponge so you can see some of the black spray paint through the bottom for depth. I'm going to hit certain spots with this lighter pink just to lighten it up a bit. Time to complete it with some Deadhead Props bloodbath. This stuff is great, and I suggest if you're doing any project like this, you go to deadheadprops.com and buy some of this stuff. It is awesome. I'm applying it with a brush on top of all the lighter sections, trying to get that whole mangled flesh muscle look. The hands came out pretty nice. I like them. The next part I'm going to do is fix the light in his head. I took the reflector off so I can get it deeper into his hood. My whole goal here was I didn't want to be able to see the outlines of the light. I'm going to light him up with a big red floodlight and a small red spotlight aimed directly at his head to block some of the glare. Last step, Bluetooth speaker, run some sound effects from the thing. And here's the finished prop. I'd also like to add, if you're thinking about doing this, use an LED floodlight. They don't get that hot. You won't have to worry about the cloth of the hood heating up too much. And that'll about do it for this episode. Thanks for watching this episode of He's Crafty. Okay, you pass.
You're a dork.
Call me Snake.
No.